half-buttoned shirt, half-twisted necklace, and the way he half-hugged my mom as she tentatively placed her arms around his neck. This is weird, I thought to myself. Mom's hand gently encircled his porcelain neck as if she could never let go. "This is your sister," she said, her eyes remaining locked on him. I tried to speak, but the upper corners of my lips wouldn't budge. I extended my hand and he responded with a half-hug, and automatically I stiffened. I didn't even know this person. But that wasn't true. I knew about him. All my life I'd heard about the son from Mom's first marriage, the son she was forced to leave after divorcing his dad. But when you hear so much about a person you've never met, you begin to see him as a character in a story that you're never going to be a part of, less real and relevant. Mom had lost contact with her son for 16 years. Sometimes, as you sip sweet rice water on the bed, bare toes wriggling under the covers, she would blurt, "When you become famous and go on national television, say, 'I am looking for my brother.'" And we'd laugh together because it was still just us two. The thought of change anytime soon seemed a hazy vision molded too many times to our imagination. I'd always felt sympathy for the 5-year-old boy whose mother left for a better life. But my sympathy was limited, for his mother was my mom, and I was part of the better life she created with my father. Even my mother, as we skimmed tattered photo albums from her past, would say that it was all God's plan. Without leaving her son, she would never have had me. My 5-year-old self would vigorously nod, cling a little tighter, and smile in contentment. As the years passed, time began to untangle the barbed wires around Mom's heart, and she let her guard down. I would see her crouching under the fluorescent light at 2 a.m., eyes glued to the old photo album. I began to see we were blatantly ignoring the lonely character on the other side of the globe. That didn't mean I wanted to be jammed into the backseat of a rundown Hyundai with that lonely character once we were on the same side of the globe. On our way from the Seoul airport to a remote island called Jindo, I grew panicky. It would be 4 more hours of suffocation, pushed against Mom, my half-brother on her other side. "Carla, heard you like singing." Startled by his voice, I winced as my elbow slipped off the leather lining, banging the metal handle. My mom and half-brother had been sharing old memories for what seemed an hour. I did like singing, in fact, I loved it, but the question seemed misplaced, a feeble attempt to include me in the untouched realm of their past. I mumbled yes, slumping deeper against the cushions. Every time Mom patted my half-brother's back, I squirmed. She spared me only a few glances, which meant, "You should understand, Carla." I didn't want to understand. All I longed for was the laughter Mom and I shared over burnt noodles, or our conversations where I'd be enveloped in her sweet, distinct aroma. Soon my half-brother and mother were asleep, her head lolling against his shoulder. Awake, I sat folded against the corner, locked out of their dreams. After a while, Mom whispered, "My little sleep monster." Anxiety charged through my body as I heard that phrase, one she'd sung into my ears ever since I was the size of her arm. Had she stolen my title and offered it to that boy? I was relieved to discover her gaze enveloping me. As she reached for my hand, I felt overwhelmed with the realization that love, even my mom's, is not finite. There is no quota for affection, a fixed supply, no means of measurement. Her love could not be quantified by the number of times she squeezed my hands or called my name. It was rooted in the life she lived. This moment, the rebuilding of her past, could not erase our fortress bond. And I thought maybe, just as she could love me without limits, so she could love my half-brother. Although the situation was nowhere near normal, and we had yet to expose to one another the crevices of our hearts, he and I were bonded together, voluntarily squished into the backseat of a Hyundai. It was amazing how even a few hours of silence with someone you've never met before can offer a small familiarity. We both sang, and maybe my world, instead of halved, could become a bit bigger.